Welcome to the Healing Circle. I'm Christine, founder of Embodied Energy Wellness, a shamanic energy practitioner and soul guide. This is a space for honest conversations about healing, awakening, and the moments that shape us. We all carry a story, and this is a place where those stories can be shared, witnessed, and gently healed, together in community. This isn't about fixing yourself, it's about remembering yourself. Take a deep breath. You're very welcome here. Just a gentle note before we begin, some topics discussed in this episode may touch on trauma, loss, or sensitive life experiences. Please take care of yourself as you listen and engage in a way that feels supportive.
Today's conversation is one so many people will relate to: the hidden money stories we inherit from our family, the scarcity mindset we unconsciously carry, and how fear around money can quietly shape our lives, decisions, and self-worth. Joining me today is Laura Medcalf, creator of the Barley Moon, mum and stepmom to 6 children, Reiki practitioner, tarot card reader, and creator of the Barley Moon Circle. Through her work, Laura creates gentle spaces for reflection, intuition, and healing, helping people reconnect with themselves through moon work, tarot, and mindfulness. In this episode, we are going to explore inherited scarcity patterns, healing the emotional relationship with money, and learning how to feel safe receiving abundance. Hi, Laura. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you so much for having me on.
You're so welcome. So my first question is, when did you first realize that you had a love-hate relationship with money and that it wasn't actually yours to carry?
I think when I first consciously became aware of it was when I took a career break in 2022 from teaching and started my business, the Barley Moon. And that's when I realized.
That was exactly like me. I could
Yeah,
completely relate. Like, yeah, when you make that jump, it's like, oh shit, isn't it?
yeah, like massive wake up call as well. Like, I think I just thought I was going to start, earning money straight away. And then a good
Yeah.
few months into it, I was like, there's a problem here.
Oh, completely. I was the same. I was like, but I had to kind of manage other people in the house as well, their fear of money. Did you have that as well?
Um, I suppose within this house, yeah, I guess there is actually a bit of a story. Yeah, there is a bit of a negative chat about money, which I'm trying to get to change. I don't think that helps either, putting that out into the universe. So yeah,
Yeah, no,
yeah.
definitely. Because like you took a career break, so was it like cut off all money straight away, or was it a gradual thing? It's just for listeners out there that like to hear, how the hell did we do it?
Yeah, so I'm lucky with being a primary school teacher, so I knew I'd be able to pick up subbing.
Yeah.
So I was going to rely on the subbing as like the bit of income coming in, and then the other days of the week concentrate on my business. But what ended up happening was, by the time I got to Christmas, I was like, yeah, not earning anything in my business at all. And then because I was only like getting a few days subbing here and there, there wasn't enough. So I have picked up like some EAL hours. So I had like some regular hours, but I needed like more because it was only a few hours. So it wasn't paying enough.
Well, especially with 6 kids, like I have 4 myself, like the
Mhm.
pressures are immense, isn't it, when you have children?
Yeah, yeah. And then, at the time we had 5 and we've recently had a baby. So yeah, it's got
Congratulations.
even more. Thank you. It's got even more. Yeah.
Sure, just add another one onto the mix.
Yeah.
They're like, happy days. I
Yeah.
know. I always say, sure, I've gotten bored. You know what I mean? The kids are moving out of nappies. Sure, might as well throw another one on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I actually looked right back, like I have like 3 younger ones real close together, exactly 2.5 years between them. I calculated I was in nappies for 8 years, like not physically me, but my children, like
Yeah.
buying nappies for 8 years. It was
Yeah.
madness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
It's yeah.
so just in terms of like, like a lot of people have a fear around money, and equally I did to a certain point, and I feel you have to really sit in that space when you have no money coming
Mm.
in that fear, in that dark time, to actually push through that fear. How was it for you?
Yeah. I I think, well, it's kind of, I suppose, because I guess I haven't properly allowed myself to get into the real fear. I think because my parents were then to coming in and like helping.
Yeah.
So I don't think we've really been at the point of absolute utter fear. This has been a bit of a safety net, I suppose. So maybe but that's why it keeps lingering, perhaps, because I haven't had that real this is
That. Oh
but
shit.
yeah. But when there's children as well, I mean, our parents are gonna have they want to help because you can't we if maybe if it was just me and John on our own, it would be like, right, we'd have to like just be in this and work out, you know. But I think when there's children involved, it's like it's a bit more like, no, we need to have something coming in. So there's gotta be some help somewhere when we have hard times.
Yeah, no, exactly. I find the kids like where my kids are like around teenage years, so they constantly wanting money. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
every 5 seconds. And it was only just this morning, I had I had for the third time in a row in the last 3 days gone to shop to fill up stuff for lunches. And by the time the next morning I went to reach for the put them make the lunches, they were all gone. I
Yeah.
actually had a full-blown meltdown this morning because somebody had eaten eight cheese strings in like 12 hours. And the kids are like, oh my God. And I realized actually the fear of money is still there for me as well. Like, and it's funny that we're recording this podcast today.
Yeah.
You know, my kids did go off all intact to school this morning, but
Yeah.
still I had my meltdown.
Yeah. I think that's the thing as well, because it's not like, I mean, I don't want people to think like we're sort of completely destitute. It's not that. It's just that I guess we're a big family with a mortgage and running like a large diesel car that we have to run because of like having all these children. And it's more like just, and John's a secondary school teacher, so it's not like, he gets a regular income, but it's like, I guess we get to the point sometimes where we're like, okay, we literally have to have a beans on toast kind of week because there just isn't enough there until next week, until the next paycheck to go and get like everything we need in the shop to kind of have all these meals that we'd want to usually eat. So it's like you just kind of have to have a week where it's a bit more like, okay, we just have to have the cheaper meals this week. And
Yeah.
then and then like it's when the parents have helped us, it's like things like, going over to the UK because we're both from Yorkshire. So we went over to the UK and like his mum helped us out with like just, the accommodation. Like we were all staying somewhere. So she helped us out with the accommodation there because there's seven of us and it was going to be astronomical for us. With being such a big, eight of us, sorry, with Arthur. So to being such a big family. So those are moments where it's like, that's really helpful because we just would have basically had to say we can't actually come, like we can't come this year to the Metcalf meetup, like that's just we can't afford it. But because she helped us, we could. So it's that kind of thing with us. It's like it's not that we don't have money, but sometimes we just don't have money for the nice things, that the kids want to have and the experiences we'd like to give the children. So it's like, those moments are kind of where I'm like, oh, like I wish it was a bit different.
And do you know what? I think there's so many families out there that are exactly in the same boat.
Mm.
It's where they're literally keeping their heads above water.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think a lot of people will resonate with this because the cost of living has gone up and it's grocery shopping is just, it's
Oh,
like insane. Like,
it blows my mind.
and we would do like the little Aldi shops, but like it's, it's like, how has it gone up to that? And we tend to eat the same things, we kind of buy the same stuff
Yeah.
and it's like, you can see that it's gone up loads even just in the last year. So yeah, I think a lot of people will resonate with this. It's like, it's just, there's no like spare money anymore. Like, like I remember like when I was growing up, there would be like a little pot of money for the family holiday,
Yeah.
And it's that kind of thing that we're like, we can't put something aside, So
Yeah, and do you know what, right? So, like, that's exactly it. Like, I laughed at someone turned around to me and they said, like, "Oh, sure, you probably have your savings," and I actually broke my heart laughing, burst out laughing. When savings, I haven't had
mm,
savings since I was 19.
yeah.
Like, when my first job, like, I worked in a pizza place, and I got paid £2.75. Now, I was only young, right? I was living at home, which is totally different. but I had money to go out all weekend. You know, I had money to like buy food, McDonald's, all that. I still had money left over. Like it was crazy. And now
Yeah.
it's like any disposable income is gone back in to put food on the table and
Yeah.
or get clothes, or it's like, oh my God, I'm breaking out in sweat. One of the kids needs a pair of runners. I'm gonna have to find money to get that. You know, it's
Hmm.
constantly juggling, right?
Yeah.
And you know, society has placed this fear on us as well,
Mm.
because I feel a lot of it is around control, you know.
Yeah.
I really think they're squeezing us to max points. But we also have our external influence, which is on social media of, oh, look at this, I'm loaded, I have this, I have that. And
Mm.
keeping up with the Joneses starts coming in, which is an added pressure for parents out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So I think that I think this is why this conversation probably will resonate with people.
Yeah. Like
Mm.
like my kids will come in. Do you know what my son did? Right. I was going to Morocco to host a wellness retreat at the weekend.
Yeah.
And I was telling him I'm going to go to the souks, to the markets, and there's like huge like discounts you can make over there with all the designer gear, right? I don't know if they're real. I've been told they are. They're just I don't know. But anyway, they look real. He sent me a picture of Dior runners. And when I Googled them, they were €970 in the shops. And I was like, Ryan, where are you going with this? He goes, yeah, but if you can see them over the market. I went into the Souks market. There they were, and I got them for €40.
Wow. Okay. So
I skipped out of the place. When I got home from Morocco, I was telling all my friends, look how much we are robbed.
yeah, I know.
It's madness. Now, they looked the real deal, and to me going, here, they're real, you can wear them. Do you know what I mean? I don't really have much hang-ups of designer label. Do
No,
you know what
no,
I mean?
you,
Like,
yeah.
as long as I have the clothes in the black, I'm happy out. But it's my son who's 16 is constantly about labels.
Mm.
My 13-year-old son is also, I need Nike only. And I'm like, what? But
Yeah.
I do remember a time where I was dying for a pair of Levi jeans, and my mom could not buy them for me. I had to wait years for a pair of Levi jeans.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
wondering, and that was in the 80s, right? And I was wondering, are we any more further evolved than we were like in the 80s?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it?
So
Mm.
then, but also then, have we inherited the scarcity mindset of our parents back in the 80s and 90s?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is where I started putting like dots together. Yeah.
Tell us about your story. How did you put the dots together to bring it back to like the scarcity that you might experience when you were younger?
Well, I suppose like the main thing I started picking up on with me was why I'd also put off like sorting a business for myself for so long, because I'd kind of flirted with the idea like years ago as well with my artwork and things, was because of the tax piece, like doing your own tax and making sure that I did that correctly. And I started getting myself kind of panicky about it, and I got myself like an accountant, so I knew I had someone who knew what they were doing. And I still was like, why do I keep feeling this like panic about it and all this kind of stuff? And then that was kind of tied in with not obviously bringing money in was also coming in as well. So not feeling like I was um financially secure, and what I was trying to bring into the table. Because obviously my husband like has, he has a good income. It's just that I was like, what am I bringing in? And I started thinking about my experience growing up. And my dad is a retired dentist, but he used to own his own dental practice, which was just kind of better to do it that way. But it wasn't really like suited. He didn't enjoy being the manager of a dental practice. He just wanted to be a dentist and just do his dental job. So he had to take on this kind of responsibility that I don't think necessarily he wanted to have because it was stressful. And I just remember every time in the UK, it's like April when the tax year comes to an end. He would just be in such a stress because he'd have this huge tax bill he'd have to pay every year. I mean, he worked out, he used to work one full day every week for the tax man. So it was quite a big amount of money that he'd have to obviously have set aside. And even though he always would have it, like he was always like ahead of the game, he'd always put that money aside. He would be so stressed and so anxious around that time of year. And I just remember, being really kind of, you pick up on that when you're younger, and especially if you're a dad and you can see he's stressed and, kind of getting kind of visibly like emotional. I just have this like memory of that. And I think that's what was making me feel anxious, because I was kind of going, oh, tax, that means you get stressed. It's like my brain was just like default to, this is a panic mode situation. And that was when I started thinking about my dad's story. And he'd grown up in a house where his father and mother were both doctors, but his father had come from kind of, money, and had grown up in like a lovely, like, nice, stately type home. And he was sort of always trying to like emulate that. And he ended up kind of always living beyond his means. And my dad has also come from a broken home, because it turned out his father was having lots of affairs. And eventually my grandma left him after a number of years of putting up with this rubbish. But it's difficult in the 60s to do something like that. So there's that piece as well as like the whole shame thing. And when she left, she found out that the bank account had been completely drained. So she had to start over again, when she moved on to, her new life. So there's all these stories as well. Like that my dad has told me before, it was quite stressful watching his own father go through bankruptcy a couple of times, and like, or having to declare bankruptcy or whatever. There's that stress. His mother having to start all over again, you know, build everything up. And she eventually met who I call my grandpa, because he's the one I knew as my grandpa. And, everything was fine, but it was like she went through this period of time where it was very, very stressful, and she didn't have that security. So I feel like I've picked up on a lot of that. And one final thing that just kind of ties everything in together, where I have maybe started to break a generational loop, is that my ex-husband was having an affair, and I discovered that. I worked it out in 2018, but he didn't admit it till 2019. And when he admitted it, I was like, right, you've two choices here. Either you're going to stay in this marriage because everyone says, oh, stay in, for the kids and stuff, or you can leave and obviously start again. And I was like, do you know what? I'm not going to put my kids through what my dad went through, because my dad said it was awful. Like living in a house where his mother knew his father was having affairs, and she was really emotionally like unstable at the time, because it was obviously very distressing. And that he picked up on all of that and the anxieties and stuff. I was like, I'm not putting my boys through that. So I was like, this marriage is over. Like, I'm not going to just stay in this marriage just because people say, oh, you should stay in a marriage for your kids, because it was miserable. And he wanted to be with somebody else, and I was humiliated. So I was like, I'm not doing what grandma did, and I'm going to end the marriage now. I'm not going to stick with this and then end up finding out he's still having the affair or whatever. So that piece is where I'm like, right, I feel like I ended that little loop.
Yeah.
But the money piece is kind of kept, and like that whole loop as well, that whole kind of, your marriage kind of suddenly crumbling and the security being taken away. There's that all wrapped up in things as well. Like my grandma obviously had experienced that when she realized she was leaving, there was no money. So she had to start all over again.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So anyway, that's kind of like the piece behind all of this, like where I can see there's like the anxieties have come through.
Yeah, like I can totally relate to that, because this came up for me in the last year, where I've always had these harebrained ideas of like starting a business, going into this, doing that. Okay. And my dad, when I think back on my dad, like before he got sick mentally, like when he suffered from manic depression, schizophrenia, he was a really good businessman. I remember my uncle coming over to me after he died and said, your dad was an amazing businessman.
Mm,
Like, knew where to make money, saw how he could make money, but always there was something that was just blocking him.
yeah.
And me then, like, I had my makeup business, it was a huge success, but my fears took over, and I literally crumbled and went downwards in my mental health. And now with my business now, I keep pushing, 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 and expanding, which I love about this business, that you can always be expanding and moving and shifting.
Yeah.
But I remember there was a block in front of me, and I was like, why is this block? And it was still fragments of the fear of judgment and
Mm,
rejection and abandonment. I remember sitting in meditation one day and I called in my dad's energy and like I would have little conversations with him and I was like, Dad, like I actually think I understand you now. Because he was so holding so much trauma within himself. He never went on his healing journey. So the blocks were boulders and he couldn't get past them. And that's why
Mm.
he would go so far and then fail.
Yeah.
And like he would be obsessed with money as well. Like he would have, I don't know if anyone remembers this. Like I'm an 80s kid, right? But do you remember the Kellogg's where they had you to collect the tokens on the packets of Kellogg's for the free Big Mac?
Oh, well, I remember like collecting tokens for various things, but not the Big Mac. Yeah. Okay.
The Big Mac meals. But my dad, like, this is how he worked it. He literally, like, saved all those tokens, brought me and my sister to McDonald's, and then halved a Big Mac between the two of us. So I never actually had a full Big Mac until I was like 19, 20 when I had my own money. When you think about it, you're like, oh my God. Like, and like, there's my feeling of scarcity. So
Yeah.
when I remember when I had the makeup business and I was on a career break and it was a jump whether to move straight into the makeup business or go back to my job, right? And I remember my husband saying to me, and he was in the fear as well. He says, I'm not supporting you if this business isn't a success. And I froze. And I just
Mm.
said, there's too much riding here. It's not the right time with my mental state, my spiritual state, my emotional, like everywhere. I was on the floor. So
Mm.
I stood back and went back to my full-time safe job.
Yeah.
But I remember saying to him when I sold the business and went back to my job, I said to him, I said, and I remember sitting on the couch and saying, the next business I have I'll be the product and I will 100% be going for it.
Mm.
Like like the whole process of when I had the business, like we were on the floor in terms of our mental state.
Mm.
And he was just like, "You're not starting another business, are you?" And I said, "Oh no, I will. I know I will.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go on
Yeah.
my healing journey first."
Sorry, excuse me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I think that's what a lot of people like. We need to shift through the blocks, and it's a
Yeah.
process, step by step by step.
Mm.
Or there's a lot of people out there that feel the blocks and just stay back. They don't push through them.
Yeah. Yeah. There's that as well. And I think that's what I had been doing. And that's why when I look back, I'm like, this story has been there all along, even in my previous marriage.
Yeah.
But I just didn't I couldn't see it because it was my first marriage ending that sort of made me have my spiritual awakening as I like to see it.
Yeah.
And then I started to like see things more clearly. Well, that's how I view things have unfolded since. So, mm,
Absolutely. And you
yeah.
know what I experienced? So when I left my full-time job and took career break and started embodied energy wellness, the fear was there, but for some reason it was different. But I actually got another block of the fear of money around Christmas time, like what you said about Christmas time. It's like you've got
Mm,
children, Santa's coming as well. There's a lot of expense around Christmas time. I
mm,
actually took up a part-time job
mhm.
while running my business because and then I realized my business contracted.
Yeah.
And I realized energetically, because I always feel your business is a reflection of where you are.
Mm,
And because I contracted and worked part-time during that time, it ended up being like it was only supposed to be 3 months, it ended up being 9 months part-time work.
yeah.
My business contracted because I was playing small.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like, I need to break away from this part-time work, go back into full-time because then I can expand my business.
Mm, yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
And I think it's the mindset and the energy you're putting out determines the expansion of money,
Mm, mhm.
your business, or whatever you're building.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's what I started to become aware of. So it's why I suppose because I'm aware of it, I'm able to now start to do stuff, work on it to try and get past it to like, yeah, hopefully be
I
able to
know.
start a business. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, it's kind of like a thing that comes around for me personally, constantly all the time.
Mm,
Like that this morning, meltdown over who ate all the bloody lunch stuff, you know what I mean, in
Yeah.
24 hours. But I realized there's still a block there. There's still a fear of that money.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And so we all have to kind of, it's constantly an evolving thing, isn't it, really?
Yeah. It's not really something that you can just solve overnight. I think it's always going to be a story. Like even now, my dad's like retired, and he's like got a good pension and stuff. It's still stuff that can come up for him. Things can come up which will make him anxious again because it's just like the story is still there, and he has to kind of be aware of it and then work on it.
Yeah. So, like, for anyone listening out there who's constantly feeling the fear around money, like, even when things are okay, like, because at the end of the day, I still have a roof over my head. You have a roof over your head. Our
Mm.
children are fed, they're watered, you know what I mean? They're clothed and they're loved.
Yeah.
Um, to me, when you look at that, and this is what I do when I'm experiencing that fear of money, is I look at the abundance I already have in my life.
Yeah.
And then that's when the gratitude comes in,
Mm.
because the gratitude piece is like the accelerator of abundance coming in.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
And you said first thing, well, my mom kind of helps you. There's people around your family look around for help, but that's in itself abundance and gratitude at the same time.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like, yeah, I mean, so grateful like for those times when that can happen. It's like, we actually, I mean, yeah, we actually then can do something that we wanted to do for our family with that little bit of help. It means it can happen.
Yeah.
You know.
But you
Yeah.
see, it is like society, they do want us to view everything from the lens of scarcity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because,
I think you're right. I think it does. We all are in that mode probably quite a lot of the time.
yeah, because
Yeah.
it's being placed on us, really.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
know, I have this, it's not even a dream, it's a goal. I know it's happening. Like, it's already happened somewhere in the either. I'm going to have a retreat center in a forest, river running through it, trees everywhere, beautiful retreat center. I can see
Mm.
that.
Mm.
And in my heart, it's going to happen about 3 or 4 years' time.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know how I'm going to get there. I don't know how the universe is going to work, but I just know I'm going to wake up in the middle of a forest every morning for the rest of my life in a couple of years' time.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lot about believing in ourselves,
Hmm. Yeah.
self-worth, and also understanding, the law of abundance, where
Mm.
gratitude plays a huge part in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. 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 I think, and that's why, like, in this house, if the negative kind of money talk starts, I'm like, okay, now we need to like change
Yeah,
how we're speaking here, because it's not like, even when I catch myself, it's like somebody listening might go, Jesus, they must be like really like struggling. It's like, we're actually not. I suppose it's just that everything can feel like every so often it can feel really, really tight. And then
yeah,
like the money will come in, obviously, because like John has like the kind of wage that will come in every 2 weeks. Then I'll get paid for some of my subbing. And then I might have a sudden like flurry of like tarot readings. So I have a little bonus amount that we can use towards the groceries or whatever. But it's like just then we go back into a stage where it might be like for a week, it's like, okay, we're just gonna have to have like beans on toast and like baked potatoes this week. Because like there
yeah,
isn't enough to go and get the shopping and the diesel. But then by next Thursday it'll be fine again. So
yeah.
it's
But that's exactly, like, it's just a constant wheel turning, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. It's like, yeah, it's yeah. And so when we're in one of those weeks, I'm like, okay, let's just try not to like say, oh, we can't afford this, we can't afford that, because we're just calling that in, I think, all
Yeah.
the time. You know?
Yeah, 100%. I feel it's our mind and our thought process and our words that are our wand. So,
Yeah.
like, when we're speaking negatively, and like that was like this morning, I had a meltdown with my children over that, right? Which was like, in fairness, right? I don't think when I reflected on it after, I don't think it was about money. It was more about me not saying no to my kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I still have to sit with that a little bit, but it came in there just before we got on this. So, because I kind of take a couple of minutes just to sit back and go, get rid of shifts, the
Yeah.
morning run, skill run out of the way so I can work. But the more I actually sit with it, it was actually, do you know what? I'm just more angry because I'm running around like a mad joke around these children, getting them everything they want, and they have no boundaries in terms of, hey, when there's no lunch bars, there's none left for the rest of the week. But like children being children will just keep take, 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 take.
Because they think it's just going to get magically replaced. And
Exactly.
probably sometimes maybe you do go and like rebuy stuff.
I do it
Yeah.
all the time. And so
Yeah.
then it's back to me going, now hold on, I should actually be more assertive here and say no.
Yeah. That's so funny because there's kind of a similar piece came up for me this morning about I'm just like sometimes just that a bit too soft,
Yeah,
and I
me
kind
too.
of, yeah, and it wasn't over like food like stuff, it was to do with like just clothes and like someone not like having the right t-shirt sorted and they can actually go and sort it themselves, like they're old enough, and me just like
Oh,
going into over mammy mode and babying, and I just don't like,
yeah.
oh, so yeah, I had to sit with the fact that, yeah, actually that's me. I was in the wrong there.
Like I have gone through so much of no people pleasing anyone outside my family, but it's still coming up inside the family. And
Yeah.
that's the reason why I got really got really annoyed. I wasn't annoyed at my children. I was actually more annoyed at myself because I could not say enough's enough now.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally resonate with that because in a very different way, but similar, but the same thing. I need to actually learn when to be harder and say no.
Exactly. And I think like majority of mothers out there and anyone out there, it like sometimes we fly off the handle of whatever is coming in at us. But when we sit with it, realize actually it's a different thing. It's not even about money.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
about people pleasing.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I'm a chronic people pleaser.
Oh,
100%.
and I thought I'd healed from that. God damn it, more
Yeah,
layers
I know.
in hell.
Yeah, that's another thing I need to work on. I want to get hold of Fern Cotton's book. I think she's written a whole book about people pleasing,
Oh yeah.
sort of likable or something. I want to get hold of that and like read that because, yeah. But I heard her talking about that. She was like, even though I've written that book, she's still finding herself slipping back. And she's like, she was on the radio and she's saying, I have to keep reminding myself, no, I don't care what people think about me. I'm just going to say what I need to say and have my boundaries and respect my boundaries. But then sometimes she'll slip back into people pleasing. So I was like, see, it's hard. She's gone through the work, but she's still having to remind herself. So you're never
Yeah.
fully healed from any of this stuff.
No, and that's why I always like, my clients go, if one session I'll be healed, yeah. And I'm like, you might
No.
not be healed in this lifetime, girl. You might
No,
heal it.
it's to keep working on it. I suppose it's the awareness. Once you have the awareness, like you're quite a good chunk of the way there. Because, like, then you can just keep bringing yourself back to, okay, that's that again. I'm doing that again.
Yeah, and that's it. That's exactly what happened to me just now. It's like, okay, it's the people pleasing more than anything else, so I need to be more assertive.
Mm.
In terms of like money, people listening now at the moment and have that fear around money, even like you said, when things are okay, what do you think would be the first step towards creating a healthier and safer relationship with abundance?
Um, well, what I have been doing is I've been taking the pressure off myself and my business because I think that's what was causing the problem was I was almost creating a situation where I was then making myself feel unsafe.
Yeah,
So I mean, this is just what I've done because it's just how it's worked well for me. I've stopped focusing so much on my business and I need to make money from my business and it needs to bring in this and I need to be doing that and just focus back on like what can I be doing that would bring in something more stable and still allow me the time to dedicate to my business. Like you were saying as well, if you end up switching focus too much, then you end up keeping yourself small as well. So I suppose it's all about balance and that's what I'm trying to do now. So, like, my plan is in September to get a job share, teaching job share. So, I will have a regular income through the holidays, but I will also have 2 or 3 days a week where I can like run my Reiki business and do my tarot readings.
yeah,
So, that immediately, as soon as I was like, okay, that's my plan, I felt my nervous system relax, because then the focus wasn't on my business. It's like, well, I'll have that steady income, and then I can just enjoy my business and grow it through like, but like, I suppose being grateful and being in that energy and like enjoying what I'm doing. And that will have that kind of knock on effect of drawing in,
Yeah.
what I'm trying to put out, So
Yeah.
that's how I've done it.
Do you know what I've started doing? When I feel the fear of money coming in, I was naturally going into default mode of I need to make more money, I need to do this, right? But I was actually getting further away from my
Mm,
core values of the business.
yeah.
So what I was like, okay, I'm going to flip that mindset and flip the viewpoint to how can I help others?
Yeah.
What do they need?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's here's the product, and that's how much it is, and throw it out into the ether.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you're flipping your mindset from I have to make money for me to flipping it, how can I help others?
Yes. Yeah. 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 Because I suppose I've been doing something similar in the sense of I've created this WhatsApp community. And it's like a free community.
Yeah.
But I do like a little tarot readings and it and stuff, and it's set up so like people can't be like replying all the time, because I don't want it to be one of those overwhelming, like, oh my God, group chat, like 90 messages in it or something like that.
Yeah.
But what people are getting is, on a Monday morning they wake up and I put like a little tarot reading in there for the week ahead, and then Wednesday I do an oracle card checking or whatever, and people are really enjoying it. And then I've set up a little chat that I open for like 24 hours, 48 hours max around the moons, and everyone can chat away in that. And sometimes I do little card pulls or like a tarot hour. I'm live online and I'll pull cards and stuff. And it's free, completely free. But like, it's actually because it's so lovely to like, it's been helping people. It's like more people are joining, and it's generating that like energy of like, this, like it's the word is spreading about how tarot can be so helpful, and like,
Yeah.
all of that. And that, I suppose, and then naturally people are saying, oh, like, do you do personal readings, or, can I set up like, I
Yeah.
want to do a night with my friends, like, can I set something up with you? So it's like, naturally, that's people are then asking me about things that I do that are paid. So yeah, it does work in that way as well, where you can just, you're helping people, but it's eventually it kind of, comes back, I
Yeah.
suppose. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good. How can we're gonna wrap it up, but how can people find you, Laura?
I tend to hang out on Instagram. I don't really do the Facebook thing, even though I have a Facebook page. So Instagram, and then if people are interested in joining my WhatsApp circle, because that's where I'm much more enjoying being on, because I don't like the whole Instagram thing, can be a bit overwhelming. There's like they'll find the link there in my Instagram bio, like so they can
Perfect. It's the
join that.
Barley Moon, is it?
The Barley Moon show at the Barley Moon. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Perfect.
yeah.
Laura, it's been an absolute pleasure. I wish you all the abundance for the
Thank you.
future,
You too
now
as
and the
well.
future. Yeah, me too. Thanks, Emil, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks, Emil.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.